Hey everybody!
Hey everybody!
It's Naj and Jay, and we are here in the Chancery Market for the first time.
Which is so cute.
And it's really cool in here. You definitely should come here.
They got nice couches.
They got nice couches. They were super inviting with us, just kind of showing up and setting up everything.
Yeah.
So we're excited to be here for the first time and also to have this wonderful conversation. As the man, I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce everything because I don't want to mansplain from the rip. Right.
Here we have two members of the board of the Brown Girls Rock Board.
Hi, my name is Ebony Maddrey, and I am a licensed professional counselor here in the city of Wilmington.
Hi, and I am Patty Glasco, and I am the Director of People and Culture for a local alternative program.
Okay.
So how did you become a part of the Brown Girls Rock Board?
Okay. All right. So, ironically, Sharita and I grew up together in Newcastle, right?
And so, Newcastle,
like really young, informative years. Like we learned a lot and we went through a lot. And then Sharita had this great idea about this program. She called me and she's like, "Hey, Eb, are you available to meet up with me for lunch?" And we got together and she told me about this program and I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm in. One, I trust her, I trust the vision, and I know that her heart is in it. And so anything that I could do to support her vision, I told her that I would tag along. And so that's how I got involved.
I love that. And for me, it was the very first event, and Sharita called me. So I know Sharita, we used to go to church together. And so she also knows that I'm an event planner. I have my own business as an event planner. And so she called me the first year and said, Patty, you know, putting on this event, I need help. Can you help me? And my first response is always yes. And not even thinking that same year, my son got married on July 17th, but my daughter turned 21 on July 15th.
Oh my gosh,
and they were both, you know, my son was like, of course, the wedding. My daughter was like, oh, and I have to have a party. Regardless of my brother getting married, I have to have a party. And then Rita calls me and says, I need your help. And I'm like, sure. So Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
You was lit the whole week.
So after that event, I went home and passed out, right? But it was a beautiful event. And here we are 3 years later. So very, very excited to be a part.
Good. Well, I would love for you to give us your reflection from last year.
All right, so last year we were in a heat wave.
Yes.
Child,
And I had just gotten a small surgery done.
Oh my God.
I was literally dragging and limping myself. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
And so we were like, do you think people will come? Do you think that they won't? You know, we're like, well, it's in a park. There are trees and there will be shade and people, you know, adults should know what to bring to prepare. So let's just move forward. And ironically enough, it was such a blessing. Like that park was packed out. And for it to be so hot, like we didn't have any incidentals.
And she was pregnant.
Sharita was pregnant.
Yes.
And so it really just goes to show like how much her heart is in it, you know, to still be willing to show up in a heat wave, 9 months pregnant, you know, and to
everyone
pull
who
it
showed
off.
up, you know,
And everyone who showed up, yes, it was beautiful. And so, I won't jump the gun. Look, I won't jump the gun.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. It just gets better and better. I cannot wait for this year. And here we go again, the second event. And after that event, I had to drive 2 hours to the Poconos for our job retreat. So I'm like, this year, I'm like, Rita, when is the date? Let me make sure I have nothing Exactly. But, you know, you can't say no. You know, what you said earlier, we have to teach our little girls how beautiful they are at that age, right? Because then they become our age and we're trying to figure out, you know, and understand and acknowledge how beautiful we are, right? We want them to know that at that age, you know, at a younger age. And so a very important event, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
So can you talk about your specific roles with the event?
So for me, the first 2 years I was the planner on the event, working very, closely with Rita in that way. This year, I am over the vendors and authors row. And so during COVID, I became an author. So we know Rita is an author. And thank you. So during COVID, unfortunately, experienced a divorce and all that. We won't got to go into that. however, wrote my first book. And so I'm very excited to be over this because there are so many authors out there, women of color, that I didn't even know, right? It's like, come on, you got to be able to promote.
Go rise up.
Yes, exactly.
All the way up.
Exactly.
All the way
yes.
up.
And so, and all of the, female entrepreneurs that we have out there, just really excited to give them, create a space like we did last year and the year before for them to showcase their work.
Yeah.
And so that really just highlights the magnitude of the growth each year, right? And so to have authors, or I'm an author too.
Yes, woo!
Yes, but to
Brown
have
girl's right.
yes,
There we
Brown
go.
girl.
Part two of the
Yes, but it has just expanded. Each year, something else has been added, and so my role has been to conduct therapy sessions.
Yeah.
Last year, during the heat wave, I was under the therapy tent, and I just love that title. I'm like, the therapy tent. Come on over to the therapy tent.
I remember that.
Yes, and so the sessions run back to back to back, but I love it because it's something that, one, it comes natural for me, and two, by profession, again, I just enjoy seeing those breakthroughs that happens. And so while we're doing 30-minute sessions, like there's so much healing that happens under the therapy tent and during these therapy sessions. And so that has been my role for the last 3 years. I also bake. And so there has been cupcake decorating
Wait,
each
can we
year.
eat the cupcake while we're in therapy?
Yes.
Hey.
If you're done decorating your cupcake, bring it on over to
Get your
therapy.
tissues
Yes.
and your
I want to
napkins.
come up with a specific problem. I don't have anything I need to address. Like, what is wrong with me today? Because I need a
Right.
cupcake.
And you need a flavor that matches. A flavor that matches.
But one thing we know is that food is tied to healing, right? It's therapeutic as well, right? And so, again, we just get out there and do our thing, and ultimately, like, just kind of filling in the gap. So while I'm signed up for therapy, anywhere that Sharita needs me to jump in, and it's the same with all of the board members, right? We just kind of jump right in to make it a smooth transition from each thing that's being offered, and to make sure that all of the guests are having a really good time.
Now, is it group or individual? I'm sorry, please.
I just want, can you touch on the panel interview with the mothers?
Yes. And so to answer your question, it's group therapy, right, that they get. And one, too, it helps to eliminate the stigma behind therapy. And so in participating in Brown Girls Rock, they get a feel for it. And some people have come to me and said, can I come on as a client? Can you meet with my daughter? And if I don't have the space for them, I refer out. And so last year we introduced a mother-daughter panel because we wanted to highlight the highs and the lows, the joys and the pains of being a mother, and one thing, and my daughter, when she sees this, she already knows this because I say it all the time, and this is just like one of our things that we do, right? And so I'll share with parents, there was a time where I didn't like my daughter. I love her, but there was a time where I didn't like her and she didn't like me. And I think that in order to break, different cycles, we have to be transparent and we have to be honest. And so we are bringing the mother-daughter panel back this year.
I love that. Okay. What are the biggest differences from last year to this year?
From last year to this year,
I know the location changes.
The location.
Which is huge.
Thousand Acre Farm.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes, exactly.
And beautiful.
Yes, absolutely beautiful. But if I can just touch on, I think there's going to be a little bit more freedom than what we had at Lum's Pond as well. Although, I think each year it has grown, right? And it gets better and better. I'm really excited about where we're going to be this year. I think there's going to be a little bit more freedom at Lum's Pond. Nervous about cops. There was houses behind, and some things where I think we could just enjoy today now. Just really just let loose, right? Without a whole lot of parameters that we kind of had at Lum's Pond.
Yeah. So this year we incorporated. There's a young dance group. They are phenomenal, called Baby Groove. And so they're going to come and perform. So in addition to the Trumpet Girls, right?
I love
the Trumpet Girls, they were so dope.
Oh my God.
I've already been stepping up my game in terms of being able to capture them. Because I'm going to get y'all.
Get them.
They were, oh my God, I wanted to get up there and
Listen, they had me thinking
And how hot was it? It was so hot, and they were out there just bouncing. It was fantastic.
Yes, but it was good for their peers. I felt like to see them just push through in the heat and to still give an A1 performance. And so I think that their performance style will be matched because Baby Groove, again, is a phenomenal dance ensemble. They're like a miniature version of the Lincoln dancers. And so, so it's like, it's good. Yeah, and so even when you think about mentorship, right? And so to see big sisters in college doing a thing where you have elementary school kids and middle school kids kind of mimicking it. So Authors Row is new this year.
You want to go into detail about what kind of things will be there at Authors Row? Like what kind of books?
So actually, we're not looking for a specific book. There's going to be many probably catering to our younger crowds, but there's also going to be a handful of women who have written about being a woman, right? And so one of the authors that'll be there, which is an extension from my book, is Hold the Line, right? And the way I look at it right now is we're writing.
Hold the line.
Hold the line.
Hold the line.
Yes.
I'm gonna be using that on this.
You can hold the mule anyway.
I know, but now let's
We're gonna switch it up.
The good writer said hold the line.
And what just the balance, with that is we have authors who are writing about little girls and, just again, what we already talked about, helping them to recognize who they are. Because if we don't do that, then they become authors like me who are writing about Hold the Line, right? 51 years old, trying to reveal, release, and restore some things, right? And so while that'll never go away, if we can just get our babies to understand who they are now, we'll just have fewer and fewer women at 51 just trying to figure out who they are.
But can I just say, you're 51 and fabulous.
Oh, well, thank you.
And even though you're still finding your way, you're doing it gracefully.
I feel like we're all always finding a way. Like I get what you're saying, but like, I mean, I'm 46, about to be 47, and I'm in a constant state of trying to figure out certain things. You know what I mean?
I do, and I would agree. You never get to a place and it's over, right? This is a journey, right? And so definitely get that. And there are also some things that I wish I would have learned a little younger than.
Oh my God, isn't that that's universal?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
It is. Yeah. And that's that transparency piece, right? And so just to be able to be honest, and so like even when I make that statement, some people like clench their pearls. But my daughter is like, she's right. You know what I mean? And we can be honest. We don't have to hide behind it and pretend that we were never in that space. And again, that's where growth comes from. That's where evolution stems from. You know, and so good for you.
From one author to another.
What are some of the biggest, or I guess, the biggest issues that you see kind of consistently when you're doing these group sessions? And what's always coming up?
Effective communication. So communication style, right? And so a lot of times, even when it comes to parents and their kids, it really boils down to communication. My mother isn't listening to me. My daughter is always yelling and being, you know what I'm defiant, but it's not. The little girls will shut down because the moms tend to yell, right? And so I get that you're frustrated, Mom, but can we try to shift it just a little bit so that now you continue to be her safe space? Also getting parents to understand that when your child has a village, and I think Brown Girls offers that. So when your child has a village, for you not to be offended about them accessing and utilizing the village, right? Because if we're the village and you tell me something, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be able to bring it back to you, right? So it's like, trust the village that you have put in place for your children.
Trust the village.
Trust the village. Another thing, so grief came up. That was a really, really big thing last year. And one of the tools that I was able to use during our grief sessions is actually a book that Sharita wrote, you know, because she lost her brother. And it hit home for me because, again, we grew up together, so we had a connection, right? But being able to utilize her book in the grief session with the girls, when I tell you there were tears, there was laughter, right? And so just helping kids understand that when we lose someone, we don't have to be sad all the time. Like, we can also find some happy times that will make us laugh. And for them to see that and to witness it amongst their peers, like, it was just so heartfelt.
It's so interesting that you're saying all this because I have a 10-year-old and then I have 4-year-old twins.
Okay.
My 10-year-old, like myself, has big emotions,
Okay.
huge emotions.
Yes.
And she's going through her changes. And I recently had the big girl talk.
Yes, yes.
And it's so funny because when I was a kid, my mom was my safe place. And she allowed me to have those big emotions. And I try to be able to be like that for my oldest.
Yes.
But I can also understand, like, my mom don't listen to me, or she's not hearing what I'm saying, or sometimes I shut down because I don't know how to answer the question because I feel like, well, I'm still trying to learn this part of my life myself.
Right.
So I love the fact that we can, as mothers and the daughters, can come into that session and kind of figure out how to talk to each other, you know?
Yes.
And if I could just touch on just around the relationship. We see more now where parents, mothers, trying to be friends as opposed to mothers, right?
Yeah.
And I can remember, so my daughter she'll be 23 in July.
Okay.
And just probably 2-3 years ago, she asked me, she said, am I your best friend yet? And I'm like, you're closer. We're not there yet, but you're closer. Yeah. But I also remember with my mom, it took till I was probably like 21 before I felt like that she could possibly be a friend.
Yeah.
Because, the level of respect that I had, this is my mom, and it's just some things that I ain't even gonna think about saying to her.
Right.
Sharing with her.
Right.
And I think, I'm kind of not way off topic, but like to this point, like my kids will always be my kids. Like we can be friendly and friends, but you never stop parenting and having that instinct where like I gotta make sure that you're okay.
Right.
Like that never goes away. And when they have kids, they're like, because that's like
what
me and my dad. Not like, oh, dad.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Now
I have
get
so
it.
many of those moments.
But you gotta get them to that point.
Yeah.
So you know what, and I also share with parents because so while this is dedicated towards the younger children, right? It is important to capture opportunities to tap into the parents, and to let them know, like, it's okay to be hard on your kid, right? And to not feel guilty about it because we know what society has to offer them, right? And so we have a due diligence to make sure that we're guiding them and steering them in the right way.
Yes.
And for me, I didn't understand why my mom was so hard on me until I became a parent, right? And so it's like, okay, now I understand. And I went back and I thanked her. I was like, thank you for every whooping. Thank you for every whooping that I got because I deserved it. Yes.
No.
Yes.
You
And
got
so
that.
while
Like
in the
100%.
moment we're like reaching and seeking for those aha moments, give it time. It'll come.
And I think that's what I'm just bringing up is that we feel because we want to connect, we want to reach our children, we think we got to put the parenting aside and be their friend. And it's like, no, what they most need is for us to be the parent.
And I think that's the part I'm good at.
Yes.
I know how to be the parent.
Yes.
It's getting down to her level of being eye level to her while still being her mother. That I'm like, okay, I'm still learning that. I'm a young mom, so. But I love that part of it. We can all share in those moments during these sessions. Another thing I wanted,
No, you got it. Please.
Another thing I wanted to say is, like, you said that this event is geared to the younger girls. But if you really think about it, like you mentioned how excited I was when you saw me last year. There are times when I'm able to go and be my inner child. And that was that event. And it felt so good to be there with those young girls and with the older women and all of us being there together, experiencing all of this as one, group. So I think, yes, it is catered, but I think that's fun.
There's something for the moms. And there's something for the moms. I was going to say, and the dads, right?
So let's jump right into it.
Look, I'm like, come on,
let's not skip around it. So the event is called Brown Girls Rock.
Don't rise up.
But last year, number one, there were plenty of men there. I think every man that was there felt welcome. And there were many different, ethnicities there. So in as much as this event is entitled what it is and has its own specific purpose, I mean, I can say a whole lot, but can you guys speak to the fact that this is named for a certain reason, but is also equally inclusive?
It is so inclusive,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that the title Brown Girls, one, our brown girls don't get the notoriety that they deserve and that they need. They come up against so many microaggressions day in and day out, starting from preschool on up, right? And so they need something or needed something just specifically titled for them, but it is inclusive to all girls, all races, all backgrounds, all ages. You know, there are things for 3-year-olds to come and do. So that they feel good about the skin that they're in, right? And so you can be from any race and be a participant of the brown girl experience, you know? And I think that that's one thing culturally as brown people that we do. We are inclusive. While we get excluded in a lot of different areas, we're one big melting pot.
I mean, even if you, so number one, quite frankly, from Asians to Africans, everyone has a little bit of brown. But we're talking, like, even if we just narrow it down to specifically black people, our color range, like, like, so clearly it has to be inclusive by nature. And I'll say this from my end. So, number one, like, as a man, like, it's absolutely absurd to me that anyone could have it. Like, I don't feel excluded as a man, you know? Like, I understand this is for women because women need to have their safe space. And maybe there will be a brown boys rock too, and women can come too. But, like, the idea that I understand why someone could feel like it's exclusive because it's not their name on it, but that's kind of absurd to
But
me.
that's society. That's the funny part. Is
where
the
we
people
are.
who
But
are
it's absurd.
poking. There's so many, like, for instance, Barbie. When you see a Barbie commercial, I don't think I've seen more than maybe 1 or 2 Barbie commercials with black Barbie.
But like if they have
more recent though, right?
Right,
Like,
and only recently. Before it was only white Barbies. That was it.
But if they want to have an Irish culture rocks celebration,
That's great.
great. And I will probably show up because I like Jameson and Guinness. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is all perfectly fine with me. Or if you go to a blues festival, this is for blues heads. But if you like rock and roll, you can go. You can still come. This is like what it's about, and that's great.
And then I also want to highlight too, so while Sharita is the founder and the brains behind all of this, she is mixed. You know, like there's a huge Hispanic presence as well. And so when we think about brown, you know, like Jay said, it's the color palette is just so broad, right? And even in our households, right? We even talk about that in certain sessions. But in our households, we can have children that look like each one of us, and none of our skin tones are the same, right? But that does not mean that we're not who we are, you know?
So jumping into it, because we're going to clear the air, okay?
All right.
I thought we was already in it, but go ahead.
No. So I heard that y'all was messaging people and commenting on stuff, talking stuff. So
You're welcome to come and
Pull
enjoy
up.
the show.
Pull up.
Pull up and we will treat
Pull
you with
up.
love. You are
get a plate.
welcome. We will give you a plate.
Take a picture with a
We'll be
princess.
kind to you.
You want to get on a horse?
Yes.
So please come. You're welcome.
Yes.
We want you.
Yes.
So yeah.
So can we hold that line?
Hold the
Hold
line.
that line. Yes. Hold that line. Come see us on July 15th.
Yes. I think it is a beautiful, beautiful tribute to brown girls to do this event. You
And for
know?
them to see, like it's
Yes.
mesmerizing, right?
What last year? We were really
Just
taken
a sea
aback.
of people,
Between the heat and my little surgery, the fact that I remained enthusiastic throughout the event
Says a lot.
speaks a whole lot. And
Like-
again, it wasn't even for me.
And it's funny because Jay is like,
for you.
Jay is a self-entitled meathead. Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
And he was over there, giddy,
Yeah.
looking at these little girls.
It's a horse. It's a horse.
Look at that baby with the dress on. Like he
Adorable.
loved everything about it. He talked about his daughter and wanting her to be there. My kids, you know, it's just.
Bring that.
Before you say anything about the title, about the imagery, about who put it together,
Come see it.
come and
out.
see it.
Experience it.
It is
Yes.
an
You're
experience.
literally
right?
invited. Like, come.
Yes.
Come in the bouncy castle with me. And she'll come in there and we'll do a 30-minute session.
I got you.
Bounce all of your concerns away.
I got you. Yeah.
Yes.
You'll bounce
And
out
we
with
can
love.
also, it is a family event.
Yes.
You know, and so my son has gone all 3 years.
Oh,
you know, and
How
I don't
is he?
even worry about him. He's 10 now, so he would have been 7, right, starting. But when he's there, it's a safe environment.
Yes.
He does his thing. He'll check in every once in a while.
Yeah.
Last year, he didn't check in at all.
It's great. And one more, I'm trying not to talk too much, but like, men should come because it's really important for us to understand at a deeper level what we need to add to the table so that you have a safe space, right? I mean, so, yeah.
And can I also say too, like, so while we're doing the mother-daughter panel, I had an epiphany the other night, and I was like, I know a lot of dads raising girls. And so there is one spot open if there's a dad that wants to show up and be a part of the panel with their daughter. Because I think it's important that we highlight that just as well, going back to being all-inclusive, right? And so, so.
I have the perfect suggestion. We're going to talk off camera.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you want to express about this event, about the programs, about the special guests, or say something to the people who are going to be watching, whether it's an adult or a little girl?
I would say it is an experience.
Yeah, it is.
And this year, we didn't say, this year there's also a meet and greet skating party the night before.
The night before.
So there's a skating party. And so come out and just fellowship, interact, you know, get to meet people, see people, have a good time. And then on Saturday, just be in the place, you know, to experience the vibe. Because that's exactly what it is. It's a major vibe for all people, right? For all people, but you know, bring those brown babies out. If you haven't already, get your tickets, invite a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend, right? Yes, because we'll be there, and we're just hoping that, you know, we can pack this event out this year again.
We will.
Again. I believe so.
Absolutely. And if you haven't made it to the last two, you definitely want to be here this year. It's just going to get better and better. We say gooder and gooder and gooder, right?
More better, more gooder. Can I ask you just one last question?
Yes.
I have 10 more. No, I'm playing.
Look, we got time today.
This one. Hold the line.
Right.
What would you say so far in your life has been your ultimate brown girl experience?
Oh, wow.
I know.
I've had, so listen, I've had several, right? But I think the biggest one I would have to say is when I got to a place of having a safe space to talk freely and openly about things that I experienced as a child. And, you know, like I said, I'm a therapist, so one thing I always tell people is that kids do not just act out. Right? If they're acting out, something has been a catalyst to get that thing started. Whatever that thing may be, right? But when I got to a place of being able to speak about the thing that was my catalyst, because I was that girl acting out, I felt liberated. And so I've been on a quest to help liberate other people, and to be comfortable in my skin, right? Like, I am who I am. I am Ebony, right? And to be able to embrace that fully, no matter what my past has looked like, but to know that where I start is not where I have to finish. So I would say, I know that was long-winded, but having a platform and a safe space to really talk about things that impacted me growing up. And so, again, to just prevent the longevity of a child having to hold on to so much. So I would say that would be it.
I could say ditto. And, you know, for me, in 2020, I'd like to share that March 9th, I had a full hysterectomy. March 16th, the world shut down. June 20th, my husband walked out, right? And so thought my life was just ending. And then, you know, through all of that, Hold the Line was birthed. But this is what I want to point out, similar to Ebony, and that is in volume 3, because we're on volume, we just published volume 3 of Hold the Line. But my chapter in Hold the Line, which is a collaborative book project, so we have now 45 authors that are a part of this project. But in chapter 3, the title of my chapter was Life Altering but not life ending.
Yes.
And so I went through something right after high school where it changed the whole trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
Like, graduated from high school in state prison 2 weeks later, federal prison in New Jersey.
Talk about it.
I was supposed to be leaving for the Army on July 2nd of 1991. I was in prison. First time I'm saying this.
I love it.
Outside of this.
This is a safe place.
Yes.
Yes.
Outside of Chapter 3, which we just launched in March. This is the first time I'm saying this.
Wow.
But I needed to say it. I need to continue to say it because
Yes.
I thought I was living small because I thought that change in my life, I just wasn't good enough for anyone or anything. You know, supposed to have been in the Army and all this, and so, you know, showing up at the table was like this.
Yeah.
Like, is anybody really seeing me? And I had to put it out there. I had to share.
Yes.
And, you know, realize that, yes, life altering. Yeah, it changed my life.
Yes.
Right.
But it didn't end it.
Yes.
It didn't end it.
Right.
I'm here,
You're
right?
here. And we
I'm
see
sitting on
you.
it. Yeah, look,
Okay.
Yes.
you know, and so that's my brown girl, you know, moment. Was
love
being able to just speak that out, right?
Yeah.
And it's so freeing.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
freeing.
I have to say, the theme, Girl Rise Up,
Yes.
the backlash
Yeah.
to the name, the trials and tribulations that you both
Yeah.
have been through to where you are now. All the chaos that happened last year,
Yes. Yes.
no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Right.
But it didn't say the weapons wouldn't form.
Yes, they were
Right.
born. They just
They
won't
will,
prosper.
exactly.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I think that right there for me has been my black girl experience. Because there have been weapons,
Yes.
honey. Okay, they've
Coming.
been
Right.
Yes.
left and
Yes,
right.
yes, yes.
But we're still here.
Yes.
And now we're taking our still here selves
Yes.
and we're going to the Brown Girls Rock
Yes.
Fest. And we're helping these little girls.
Yes.
And it's a celebration.
Yes.
Like, this is supposed
Yes.
to be a fun, uplifting thing.
Yes.
Let's be clear
Yes.
about that. Like,
Yes.
you know, I'm sure you could talk forever about the importance of therapy,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, this is supposed to be an uplifting,
Yes.
fun,
Yes.
high energy, just great
It's
time.
definitely
Yes.
high
You know
energy.
what I
Yes.
mean?
Definitely
so
high
you're coming
energy.
to a party, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There is
yeah.
therapy
We about to
and
party.
all those things.
We
but
gonna
this is
cry,
a
we gonna
good
eat,
time.
we gonna dance, we gonna
Yeah,
party.
this is
Yes.
fun. It's a
And that's
really
the
fun
beauty
day in
of
the
it,
park.
Yes.
to
Yeah.
be able to experience all of those emotions in one way and to still walk away feeling super
Yes.
fulfilled.
This is basically an R&B album.
So
Yes.
at the end of the day,
Country song.
Right.
how do you think that people will feel when they at the end of that day coming up?
Liberated.
Literally. Okay.
Liberated.
Excited. Like, when's next year was the date?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
ready.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Motivated. This motivated us last
Yeah.
year for real.
Yeah.
We sat back like, wow.
Yeah.
And like you pointed out, to be able to tap into that inner child, like just to be in a safe space, to have super fun.
Yes.
You know, the adults aren't off limits to
Yeah.
pony rides.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
The first
face
year I was on a
painting.
pony.
I'm a giant
Yes,
kid, so I
like
get
the
it.
first year, the face painting,
Right.
like it went from the time the doors opened
Yep.
until it shut down. Like
Yep.
they were deflating moon bounces,
Yes.
and people were still in line to get their face painted.
Listen.
So yeah,
love it.
it's definitely gonna be an all-out fun day, fun time.
How much are tickets?
Tickets are
20. Aren't they 20? I thought it was 15. 15.
Listen, the flyer gonna be up.
Yeah, it's
y'all
a fly.
That's not a lot of money.
Too
So,
pricey.
It's not. For everything that you get when you go,
Yeah.
no, even if the ticket was $50,
yeah,
it's an
literally.
experience.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think the 15 was the early bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, I think it was
Okay.
the early bird. So you probably
Yeah.
are right, Patty. And Sharita's
No
gonna
less
get
than 15, no more than 20.
Go for it.
There we go.
And
Yeah.
listen, if you can't go, sponsor somebody.
Yes.
Sponsor,
yes.
Please
yes.
sponsor someone.
Yes.
I know we got a lot of people like church folk, and we got groups, sororities. Like, see if you can sponsor a group of girls to come.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank
ladies.
you.
Anything else you want to add to
Thank
it
you.
before we get done?
I'm just excited.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Patty said, like each year there has always been a ton of things going on that week. I blocked my schedule out. I was like, I can't do anything else because I am completely focused on Brown Girl.
All the energy.
Yeah.
All of it.
Love it.
Yeah, and after the first 2 years, I did the same thing. Like, let me make sure that I don't have nothing else going on. Yeah, because you're exhausted at the end. It's a good exhaustion, though.
Yeah, like I'm realizing that this is only the third year, and I'm thinking about how big it was last year.
I know.
So the idea of it's come really far, really fast.
Yes.
So
And so that transfer of energy, like you said, is real.
Yes.
But if people are interested, you know, they can purchase tickets at www.browngirls.org, and all of the information is on there. If there are any female vendors that want to come out, they can go to the same website as well. If you want to participate in Arthur's World, everything is right there. It's a one-stop shop. If they want to buy that book on grief that I talked about, that is also listed on the website as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Y'all, let me tell you something.
Oh, by the way, we're hosting the event. So we will see you there. We're going to be having a blast.
Yes.
And we can't wait.
Child, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do an afro or braids. Because, you know, like,
You can go either way. I love the afro.
All right, so we're going to do afro.
Okay.
I love it. I'm so excited. Dr. Sharita Tayer, this is brilliant.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we were able to do this interview. I'm so glad that we're a part of the event. Make sure you guys get your tickets, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was
This
good.
is fun.
Yeah.
Y'all are resilient.
Oh, thank
Absolutely
you.
resilient.
Yes, and I think that that's just it, like passing it on and modeling it and encouraging people. Like, you can bounce back from anything. Like, this is temporary.
I always think to myself, my mom's name is Kim. When I feel like I'm overwhelmed to the point I can't do something, I'm like, Kim did it.
Right.
Kim did it.
And if Kim did it, I can do it.
I can do it.
She had
And if
3 kids, I
God
got
brought
3
Kim
kids.
through, he gonna bring me through.
Yes. Exactly. Sometimes she'll call me and be like, I don't know. Like, Kimala, do you know who you are? Her name's Kimala.
Okay.
I'm like, Kimala, do you know who you are?
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm excited about this event. Any chance I get to be around little black girls and you know,
Yeah.
I love it.
We can just pull it off.
Yep. It's a clip.
Thank you, guys. Look, we beat
I'm like, where is it?
That was good, Artie.